It's vivid, I'm living up in this nightmare. It's vivid, I'm living up in this nightmare. Bring it back, I'm stealing your joy. It's vivid, I'm living up in this nightmare. We're killing them after cuffing, it's quite fair. Democratic, Republican fight, yeah. I'm living up in this nightmare. Nightmare. It's vivid, I'm living up in this nightmare.
JGiddins family.
Nightmare. It's vivid, I'm living up in this nightmare. It's vivid, I'm living up in this nightmare. Killing citizens on live air. Big guns, militant eyes stare. The infantry that welcomes penitentiary lies here. And they sit in their wise chair and they like, I don't really care. I know my right. All I know is that you're young and you're black, and the only thing that's gonna give your honor satisfaction is giving you these numbers so you smother.
What's up, guys? It is none other than your boy JGiddins, the father. As usual, I want to start off by reminding everybody to be positive, optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle, as those three things are key to ensuring that positivity is invited in your future. In today's video, I really wanted to sort of just have a conversation surrounding mental health or mental health awareness or whatever that I guess may mean to you. I'll start off by defining what mental health is to me, or what I've grown to, I guess, know it to be. Secondly, I'll share my experience with mental health, as recently that experience has quadrupled, to say the least. And then thirdly, I'll give mental health advice. I mean, I guess based on my own experiences and what I would suggest for people. Again, to start off, like, what is mental health? So, mental health really just refers to, and this may seem obvious to some people, but if you don't have the conversation and you don't discuss it, it can sometimes escape you and not be as obvious as it may seem. Mental health is sort of your mind's capacity to function and work sufficiently, right? Same as physical health, your body's ability and capacity to function physically. So, if you fall and hurt yourself playing basketball or football, it seems normal to go to the doctor, right? You're like, oh, I hurt myself, let me go check it out. Some people, of course, say, no, it's just a bruise, I'll be fine, because they think they know, everything. And in a lot of cases, it may be the case. But in some cases, you may want to get it checked out. It may get infected, which makes it become worse. And then, you may have to get the leg amputated. Sometimes things can get drastic on a physical level. And I think that we neglect the fact that that could also happen with mental health. So, with mental health, it's really important. I guess that's kind of a segue into my personal experience with mental health. It's really important to make sure that you understand what mental health is and take the first step in order to, get yourself checked out. Let me not jump too far ahead. So first off, my experience with mental health, as of recently, I actually, and this is something that, as a person who's an intellectual, a person who considers yourself above the possibility of being crazy, right? Normally when you think about mental health, if somebody says they're going to see a therapist or a psychiatrist, or they're in the behavioral and mental health unit, you think, oh, that person's a psycho, right? But it's not always the case. That would be the metaphorical comparison of saying, oh, somebody's at the doctor, so they have cancer. Like, it doesn't mean that they're the furthest extent of what that ailment could be, right? But we just think that way because I think we're all sort of programmed to think that that is the case throughout our experiences, watching TV, movies, hearing people talk about it, things of that nature. So let me get back. I'm sorry, I digress. This has been an experience for me. So I gave birth, or I didn't give birth, I put the baby in and she gave birth to my newborn, JGiddins, on January 4th, right? I am, if you guys have watched any of my other videos or follow me, you understand that I have been involved in a custody battle, which has been draining me to levels that you really just couldn't understand. It's affected my relationship with my family, with my friends, and it's been something that I sort of just angrily approached, and sort of just hated everybody who viewed my perspective as negative, or who didn't support me, fully, because I don't know, it's just tough. It's tough. You know, you wouldn't understand unless you had kids and had them taken from you and kept from you. It's a very angry feeling, especially when you feel you can't do anything about it. So long story short, when I had my newborn, she was born on January 4th, I was in the hospital because my girlfriend, Danielle Jackson, the mom, right, she had to get a C-section, and I was in the mother-baby unit at Mercy Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, downtown, and I was holding my daughter, and I had received an email from the court, which was giving me sort of a detailed report of the special issue investigation which was taking place in my custody battle. And this report read to me in a fashion that exposed or showed that there was further abuse and neglect taking place with my daughters. And I think that was the straw. I don't know what happened, but it was on January 8th. Something in me broke. I guess everything, you know, with me working, you know, I've been working 3 jobs over the, you know, past year while taking care of my girlfriend, who's a stay-at-home mom for my son and my daughter, while working to get a connection back with my older daughters, ages 10 and 6, Journey and Justice Giddins. And everything just sort of came crumbling down on me, you know, and I just broke. I snapped. I held myself together for the moment so that we could manage to, you know, I was kind of crying, tearing up, and I couldn't really control it, but I held myself together for the moment. And that was the day actually that we were discharged from the hospital. So we went home. I was kind of okay. I tried to go to work the next day, and I just couldn't. Like, I was at work at my desk. I was crying uncontrollably. I couldn't understand it. I just kept crying, and I tried to do the tough thing at first. I'm a man. I'm okay, you know. And tears just kept rolling down my eyes. I couldn't really understand why, and I couldn't function. And somebody said to me, one of my coworkers, she said, you know, you may need help. And I said, please, you know, my girlfriend had been telling me the same thing. She had been telling me, because she's a little bit more familiar with mental health and behavioral health than I am. So, but I consider myself, like I said, if you guys probably know, consider myself to be a smart guy, an intellectual. So I thought, there's no way I need help. But now I realize it has nothing to do with how smart you are. It really just doesn't. But anyway, I digress. So one of my coworkers said to me, you might need help. And I, you know, sort of thought back to my girlfriend constantly telling me this. And I said, no, I might be okay. I think I'm okay. I calmed down after I kind of got a little bit out. I went back to my desk, sat down, and I just bust out crying again. And like literally I'm sitting there looking at the computer. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm going to be completely useless to my family, to my friends, to my supporters, to anybody who may be out there if I don't get myself together. You know, I kind of felt like, you know, if your foot was broken and you're trying to walk and you can't, you know, I was just like, I can't go on like this. So I got my medical card, and I saw on the back there was a mental health awareness number. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, honestly. I called the number. And I spoke with a nurse that was there, and she sort of calmed me down as best as she could, because I was crying uncontrollably. Talking about it made it 10 times worse. I didn't know how to handle this. You know, I ended up going to the hospital. I went to Harbor Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was seen by the behavioral health unit, and I was diagnosed with I'm sorry. Gosh, why does it escape me? It wasn't depression. It was oh God, guys, when it comes back to my mind, something disorder. I'm sorry, adjustment disorder. Oh my God, that I guess that's kind of proof that I'm getting better, right? That should be good news. So I was diagnosed with adjustment disorder because of the fact that you know, my 2 daughters, Journey and Justice, who, you know, I've raised practically. I'm adjusting to not having them be available to me, having to be in their room and see their room, but can't see them without the thought of some sort of harm or negative impact taking place because of this. And my brain was exhibiting symptoms of depression. It was causing anxiety, uncontrollable crying, you know, and slight depression. So they didn't fully diagnosed me with depression, but they diagnosed me with adjustment disorder with symptoms of depression and anxiety. So this led to me then, after being discharged from the hospital, eventually going to there's a pretty notable mental health clinic by the name of Shepherd Pratt, which most people in the state of Maryland are familiar with. I don't know about other states, but I eventually went to Shepherd Pratt per the reference of the hospital, and there I was seen by a therapist who I now currently see, and I can honestly say, man, I just never thought that I would need that, and it helped me so much. Like, it helped me so much that I felt obligated to do this video. It helped me so much that I felt like I would be doing something wrong if I didn't take a moment to explain to people that if something feels wrong, or you feel like mentally you're not as healthy as you can be, it's okay. And it's okay to get help. And man, it almost makes me want to cry to say that, because so many people told me that, and I just felt like, whatever, like, I'm not crazy. You're not crazy, but you need help, right? It's almost like, again, metaphorically, it would be like saying if you fell playing basketball and you hurt yourself, and somebody said, hey, go to the doctor. You say, what? I don't have cancer. You know, they would look at you like you were stupid. Like, nobody said you have cancer. We're not saying you're crazy. We're just saying get checked out, make sure everything's okay, or eventually it could grow into something that turns into an infection and turns into that, right? So just think about that metaphorical comparison of physical and mental health, and it kind of helps things make a lot more sense in terms of you not feeling crazy about taking that step. Whew, man. So it's been a journey for me, no pun intended, right? Journey Giddins. You know, I also, you know, lastly, I guess I just want to give my advice to people who may be experiencing things that make you think that you may have mental illness, or you may be experiencing some sort of a mental health failure in certain areas. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. It just means that in certain areas you're not as healthy mentally. The first thing you can do, in my opinion, again, I'm no doctor, but this is my opinion based on my experience. The first thing you can do is educate yourself. If you're watching this video, that you're already on the right path, right? Educate yourself. You know, educate yourself beyond just this, but in terms of doctors and psychiatrists who explain what mental health is and how it relates to the brain. There's actual, like, chemicals that fire off in our brain when we feel certain ways, and when those chemicals are imbalanced, or something is happening causing us imbalance, for example, serotonin, right? That's a chemical that causes happiness. That's something that, like, ecstasy pills increases, which is why people get happy. If something is happening in your life that's causing that to deteriorate, then that's going to cause a problem, and you need help, you know? So number one, get education, you know, or educate yourself on it. That'll help you with determining what's best for you, right? Secondly, I would say get checked out. You know, don't feel bad to check yourself into, whether it be a clinic or a hospital, whatever it is. You know, I would say personally, depending on the level of responsibility you have in your life, it's actually neglectful for you not to do it. You know what I mean? Because there are people who need you. There are people who depend on you. There are people who love you. You know, you have to get checked out. If you don't, you run the risk of, you know, going beyond repair and causing irreparable harm to yourself mentally, and then you'll be no good to anybody, right? So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about this. You know, another thing I would tell people is exactly what I actually tell people and have always told people, which is, you know, make sure to be positive, be optimistic, and keep positive people in your circle. If you do those three things, chances are it'll make it a lot easier to do the things that I'm suggesting in this video, and it'll probably make it a lot easier to understand my perspective when I'm talking to you about the things that I am in this video. You know, remember that life is a state of mind, right? I always try to tell people life is a state of mind. Like, I think all of our lives are sort of mapped out already. Like, picture like a long brick road, and we're just kind of walking down the road. You know, everything is already laid out. We're just walking down. You're going to lose a job. Up, get up. You're going to crash your car. Up, get up. You're going to have to borrow some money. Up, get up. It's all there, you know. And if you knew that the things that were happening to you were going to be better, you wouldn't worry about them. You know, like if you get evicted from your house and then you could see the future in a year and see that you'll have another house. When you get evicted, you would say, I don't give a shit. I'm going to be good next year. Like, you know what I mean? But like, it's hard to think that way without knowing or having that security of understanding what will happen. So, you know, just try to understand that life is all a state of mind. You literally have the ability to control your mind. That's how powerful we are. Like, you can be angry and just say, you know what, I'm through with this. I don't want to be angry no more. I don't. And you can smile. And you can just, you know, sort of do things to manufacture happiness. You know, you can literally watch videos that will make you, you know, happy. There's videos I like to watch. If you type in like awesome people or awesome people doing awesome things, or like I like to watch social experiment videos where, you know, it might be people doing random acts of kindness. You know, it might be a video where, you know, a guy is walking up and giving girls flowers randomly. Or I saw one where a guy was, I think it was That Was Epic. The page was That Was Epic. He was dressing up like Santa and giving people gifts. And it causes tears of happiness, you know, tears of joy when you watch it. That is therapeutic. It's very therapeutic, you know. Crying feels good. It honestly does. Like, especially when it's, you know, tears of happiness. It feels like you are just ridding yourself of everything that has been holding you back. You know, the vulnerability of it just feels so genuine and so real. I just can't even explain it. So again, my advice to everybody would be to make sure that you get help. Make sure that you seek help. Make sure that you educate yourself, because the more you educate yourself, the better you'll understand the things that you are sort of running into and may not understand at the moment. And it'll make you not feel crazy for getting help, because as I said before, I can tell you I 100% was against getting help mentally, because I just felt above that, you know. And it's really just not about how smart you are or being above that. So that's my advice to everybody. I want to, as usual, thank you guys so much for checking out my videos. To all of my followers, I'm terribly sorry about the fact that I have not posted a video in a while. Oh, shout out to my YangGang family. Shout out to Will Chang, creator of the Yang Pink Hat. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to get one of these. It says Yang 2020. Look up Andrew Yang. He promotes mental health awareness, and what he's doing is for the purpose of making sure that everybody is mentally stable, you know. And this is not to say that you have to be aligned with me politically to understand this, but I just want to give a shout out to the Yang Gang, because they sort of changed my life and helped me get to a point where I can explain these things a little bit better and understand. I want to thank you again to all of my supporters, everybody who has ever supported me. I randomly I was feeling very depressed the other day. I was down, and I checked my Patreon, and I had like $150 in there, and like I was completely down because I just quit one of my jobs because I had found another one, and then that one rescinded the offer at the last minute, and I still got to get to work for my other job that I still have and take care of my kids and my family while, you know, supporting myself. It's just tough. It's really tough. And when I checked that, it made me think to myself, man, I got to get back on my stuff. I hadn't been doing videos for a while. I kind of fell into this pit where I felt like I was useless and not useful to anybody because of my mental, you know, fallout, if you will. And, you know, seeing that support that I got just kind of made me feel, again, more obligated to make sure that I promoted mental health awareness and just made people understand that you're not the only one, you know, you're not by yourself. These are some of the things that I felt when I was sort of first approaching the whole mental health awareness perception or perspective from my point of view. So again, thank you guys so much for your support. Your continued support is appreciated. At my Patreon link in the description below, if you guys do, that'll help me get more equipment and just sort of have more available time to do these things and, you know, support my family. And I plan to going forward, and I've said this in the past, so I really hate to say it because I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but I plan to do these videos a lot more often, especially like now, like starting today. And I want to please ask you guys to follow me on Twitter. It's JGiddins, the fat one. I'll put a link below. That's JGiddins, THEFAT1, the number 1. Also, JGiddins the father on Instagram. You guys can follow me there. There's pretty much like a timeline of everything that I've been through on Instagram, because I videoed my entire experience with all of the things which, you know, unfortunately have led up to my breakdown. You know, so if you guys want to know more about me, make sure to check me out there. Also, check out my interviews and other videos that I have on my channel here, JGiddins the Father, and it'll be a great insight into who I am. Thank you guys again very, very much for all of your support. Please, again, remember to be positive, optimistic. Keep positive people in your circle. I want to give a special shout out to Michael. He knows who he is. He supported me on Patreon in a way that no one else, at least to this point, had. And I just was really grateful. You changed something in me. It wasn't just about the money. It was about knowing somebody out there cared enough to do that, man. And like, thank you so much. I love all of you guys. As I always say, you guys are my family. You are innocent until proven guilty. As far as I'm concerned, if you're watching this video, I love you. And until next time, it's your boy JGiddins out. And remember to promote mental health awareness at all times. JGiddins.